Hi everybody, I'm David and this is All Things Sacred. And so today we are going to finish up the court cards of the water suit. We already went through the Ace through the Ten of Cups. I did the Nine of Cups. I was talking about the Queen of Cups already, and I want to jump right back into that. Here's that card right there. I feel like last time, I haven't rewatched the video, but I feel like I was saying a lot of negative things about her, and that's only when she stands alone. It's really easy for her to get lost in her feelings and her misperceptions. But when it comes to other people, a lot like the Knight of Cups, in social settings, she's really good because she's able to reflect what the other person's feeling. She's very much an empathic being, is the best personality type that one might have to say for the Queen of Cups, if to give a personality type. And she can do really well in many types of settings. If she's aspected by Major Arcana, then the spiritual mirror wisdom rather, could be reflected by a being like this, especially if she has like the light of the sun shining upon her in a reading and aspected with a large group of people. Then that would say that she is showing everyone else their best qualities. And that brings up the point that she reflects really what is around her. So she's a very changeable and mutable being related to one of the mutable signs, Gemini, and then Cancer as well, which isn't mutable, but that is the other aspect she's related to. And then the Prince of Cups. This is Crowley's deck, and he didn't like this card very much. Keeper of Secrets is what he called him. He's related to Libra and Scorpio. Yeah, that's correct. Libra and Scorpio. The major Scorpio court card. His personality is one who does use secrecy, who does keep things to himself, he may be a watery card, an emotional, deep feeling card, but he keeps these feelings within. He doesn't express them because he can use this to garner power. And he's a very influential character. He has a lot of strength behind him. He's a world mover. Honestly, he's a very powerful card when he shows up. But there is a lot of difficulty in seeing what this character is hiding. Often when he does come up, there is the idea of secrecy. That's not always necessarily a bad thing, because secrecy is a big part of the path. We keep our mental sphere private to a point. Some people wear their heart on their sleeves and say whatever it is they're thinking, but sometimes it's okay to keep your mouth shut and hold it in so that you could really take a look at the inner world and analyze your thoughts. In his best form, he would be the representation of going deep into meditation. He is definitely the deepest of all the watery court cards. But that's not often how he represents. As a personality, he often represents as a person who hides their feelings because they're interested in gaining some sort of upper hand. They usually have some sort of ulterior motive. I have seen this card often when it comes up in a very negative aspect. Very rarely have I seen it where the personality is so well aspected that the secrets are kind of like the occult secrets a person keeps so that they could work their magic, so to say. And I'll keep my mouth shut from there. And then finally, the Princess of Cups. And the princess is, like I said, the Prince of Cups is a world mover, definitely. He's a powerful character, all the princes are. But they aren't the ones you remember like the princesses. The princesses are beautiful personalities, expressions of their suit in wonderful ways. The Princess of Cups is the epitome of art and beauty, love and grace. She moves gracefully. You could tell by this card the way her feet are. She's standing atop something very thin with good balance, holding creation, aspects of creation. There's flower, the fish, the swan, the turtle. And it's all very beautiful. She's a character who is an artist. She's someone who really enjoys not only creating art, but creating a beautiful experience for the people in her life, because she realizes that her life is a work of art and she wants to share this with the world. This is such a pleasant court card to be. You could tell all the watery court cards are very social creatures. They use their connection to water, their innate watery nature, to bring out enjoyable times with other people. Even the prince, he does it so that sometimes he might be wanting that power because connected to Libra, he has this greater ideal. He's an airy. He has that airy power, that airy aspect to him, as do all the other court cards of water. But Libra really holds strong to, ideas of justice or adjustment, as we'll talk about in this deck, and what they feel things should be adjusted towards. And so the Prince of Cups may not be the most socially graceful of the watery court cards, the cup court cards, but he can create the atmosphere for them to live their supposed ideal life. The court cards don't talk so much about the devotional truth behind the cups. I wanted to talk a little bit more about devotion, because devotion, I mentioned this, it's not really just going in your room, going in your closet to pray. It's not just your inner pleadings. It's not all that. A devotional type, well, first off, your devotion can't be faked, because devotion is a sincere thing. You can't lie to your conscience truly. Even if we're lying to ourselves and we're blocking ourselves from seeing the truth, there's always that little voice that knows, and you could say that is like God, that is like the divine. If you can't hide from that voice, how do you think you're going to hide from the divine? And when you're there and you're, even if you're in church or a temple or anything, and you're praying in whatever fashion, and your mind is on something else. You're thinking about your financial problems. You're praying devotional words like praise be, not even like a supplication, but just a celebration of your love for the divine, and you're thinking about other things. Your devotion is not sincere. That's not to say you're a bad person or anything. It's just that sincerity of devotion is so important, and it's such an easy way of keeping track of our internal reality. We can sit there in prayer. Let's say this is a formal form of devotion, a very formal, very orthodox way. Any sort of prayer, even if it's Protestant, which isn't orthodox at all. But it's it's still a formal setting some time aside to pray or to meditate. And if you could go into that, and you could really test yourself, see how much you could keep your mind on God, like a test, like an exercise for your mind, even because it's hard to get into devotion, to train your mind to become a devotional type, because it just arises naturally, usually. There are those, who approach it from the very mental level and realize that being a devotional type has its benefits. Vivekananda, I'll talk about him later, is a perfect example. He was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, and he was a very intellectual type who wanted to become a devoted type. And he kept striving after that till he finally just fell in love, essentially. And you can't really fake love. Essentially is what it is. The cup suit is all about love. And if we learn to really love our life and to love other beings and the creation and the divine, the creator, and the transcendent God as the self, and if we could just learn to be full of love, then we would always be praying. Then all of our moments become joyous, full of love and full of happiness. But we have to learn to be sincere in even those small moments. Whenever we have difficulties in our life, the true devotee is able to say thank you. I would say thank you, Mother. Thank you, Kali. Thank you, Kali, for giving me these lessons. That, I don't have to wait now till the troubles are over and, I've learned my lesson. I could see it coming. Sometimes even before the events happen, I'm like, I'm going to get a lesson. Kali's saying something's on the way. And I praise her for that. Something else I wanted to say about devotion too, because there is that strong idea of, the bhakti is separate from their beloved. But Tantra, which is a form of bhakti, really teaches this idea of I forget what it's called right now. It's deity meditation. It's becoming the deity, because there's a point in the worship where you disappear and the deity disappears and the act of worship disappears, and all there is the three as one. And so it's like none of them have their same quality that they had when they were all separate, but when they become one, an individual becomes immersed in their deity yoga. That's what it's called. In their form of deity, and they recognize themselves as their point of worship, not in an egotistic way. There is the possibility that this can inflate the ego for a time, but if one, again, is sincere in their love, not to bolster themselves, but just to praise what they love, their beloved, the divine, found in all things, or whatever particular form they may want, they will get this absorption, and they can move past the inflating of the ego that is possible. It's a dualistic thing that it starts off as, but it ends up becoming a unified experience, not only found in the time of devotion, the time set aside for devotion, because in that divine, whatever it may be, that divine love of whatever form the individual chooses to start with, eventually they will realize that their love and the love from their source of divinity is so large that it encompasses and is within all things in the universe. So your love, or my love, for example, of Kali, includes Christ, and includes all the saints of all the traditions. It includes every aspect of every god and every human being and every part of creation, good or evil, as being just pores or cells on the skin of my mother. And knowing that, you can tell it brings me such joy. It brings me such bliss, because then everything I do can become a point of worship. I clean my room, and I'm cleaning the temple floors. Or, I clean the living room, and I'm cleaning the area where guests come to bask in the effulgence of the divine presence, within the temple. Clean the altar areas, cleaning the room, whatever you want. When you clean your own body, you could be cleaning the skin of the divine being which you worship, as a meditation to fill yourself, to cover yourself in that divinity. Yeah. So, last thing I wanted to say, because I'm not really going to get to the wands in this video, it's already 13 minutes, and I'm going to start being all choppy soon, is that I was contemplating the 4 suits as well. I may have mentioned it, but I really want to hone in on the topic of comparing the 4 suits to the 4 paths that Vivekananda talks about as the 4 major methods of yoga. I've said a lot right now about this cup suit being the Bhakti path. That would make the air suit the Jnana path, so Bhakti is the devotional path. And the devotional path just means really filling your heart with love and learning to do everything with love. The Jnana path is learning the, so to say, doctrine of Maya, understanding this illusion and breaking through it with philosophy. It would be the path of philosophy. And I haven't talked much, except in the description of the cards, of course, only inadvertently, but about the so-called doctrine of Maya. But I will have other videos about that. Philosophy is a much beloved subject of mine as well. Then the wand suit, which I'm getting to next, would be Raja Yoga. So we have Bhakti and Jnana, and then Raja Yoga. And Raja Yoga is the meditative path, using various techniques, breathing techniques, pranayama especially, and deep meditation. I won't be talking about that in my description of the cards. I just want to mention it here. But I will be doing videos on Raja Yoga too. And then finally, Karma Yoga. The idea of working, turning all your aspects of work. Even, Bhakti kind of, the idea of cleaning your room for the divine, that's the aspect, or that's a Karma Yoga aspect of the Bhakti path. And Karma Yoga, then, karma means work. Karma is the work we have to do. Learning to work unattached is the earth path. Vivekananda laid out those 4 paths, really pointed them out, really brought attention when he brought it to the West, that these are the major forms of yoga and how they all lead to the same goal, and how they're for different types of people, really. And I just wanted to point that out as being very interrelated to the 4 elements as presented in the tarot and just in occult knowledge as a whole. So I actually finished the video without being all choppy at the end. I'm excited. Planning to start the wand suit today. I'm just gonna go, get through these enjoyably. I love doing these videos, so it's not like I'm trying to rush through them by any means. And if anyone has any questions or any points to bring up, I would love to discuss them. I'm here for you. So thank you all very much. I love you dearly, and I'll see you next time.